On this episode of the Who's This podcast, our guest is the great and powerful Weston Wiltbank. Weston is the owner of Wiltbank Media, and he and his wife also own Shelby Cake and the famous Hawaiian Snow in Thatcher. Weston tells us his awesome story of how he stumbled into the marketing world and what he has done to cultivate success in that world, as well as other areas in his life. We talk about how being good to people and being a good friend might be the biggest factor in that success.
It's just me and my friends, me and my friends, me and my friends. It's just me
Here
and
we
my
are.
friends,
It's
me and
the
my
amazing Weston Wiltbank.
Yeah, I'm excited for this because I hear so much about Weston.
Oh boy. Yeah,
All good
thanks.
things, but I've never
Yeah.
met him. So this, I mean, for me, this is going to be an opportunity to learn
Yeah,
about
yeah.
him as well as everyone else. And this is kind of the whole point of the podcast, right? Is to get to meet people that you hear about in town and don't necessarily have the chance to meet. So
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
here I am.
Yeah, me and Weston have the same barber. Good old Bryce.
Oh, yeah.
So the other about 3 weeks ago, a
Yeah.
month ago or so, I was getting my hair cut and Weston walked in and immediately I was like, "Oh, it's go time. I can talk to Weston and convince him to." No, just
Yeah, dude. Happily. We got to get Bryce on here too.
Bryce is
Yeah.
a cool guy.
Bryce
Yeah.
is a good dude.
Shout out Bryce.
The
Allen,
best.
right?
Yeah, Bryce Allen, the best barber in the Gila Valley.
Dude,
Maybe
he's-
the world.
He's good and he's easy. He's fun to talk to. I mean,
Yeah, he's great.
How long have you been going to him?
Oh, a couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah,
I'll
need
say
to
I
get
was sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna use Bryce one time and he wasn't there or something, so the guy right next to him, Alex, was there.
Yeah,
He's like, need my haircut.
Yeah,
Alex was great too.
Alex
Yeah.
does a good job.
And
He
they're
hasn't even
in
ever
different
seen.
spots now. They had some.
Yeah.
Not because they had a falling
Right.
out, but with their landlord. So, and Bryce was telling me about that. But-
Yeah. Good
Cool.
old Bryce.
So Weston, the whole point of this is to give you an opportunity and us an opportunity to get to know you. So, my first question that I like to ask is, how long have you lived in the Gila Valley? Like, are you from here?
Yeah.
Where'd you grow up? Or
Yeah, born here, raised here. I lived in, I grew up like in Solomon. So,
Okay.
not a lot of people grow up in Solomon. Grew up in Solomon, went to Safford High School, played football and basketball over there.
what year did you graduate?
I graduated in 2015.
2015.
Yep. And then went on my mission in 2015, came back, and then stayed here. So,
Where'd you go on your mission?
went to Nebraska.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
Spanish speaking Nebraska.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was fun. Got a lot of fun stuff out there. And a lot of people think you don't know a lot of there's not going to be a lot of Spanish speakers in Nebraska, but
Yeah.
there's tons, dude.
Yeah.
Like around there's entire towns where people just don't even speak English, they just speak Spanish.
Yep.
It's pretty crazy. And so we had a lot of fun. It was a good time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Do you still use your Spanish a lot?
Oh, the first time I used it was first time in a while. Sunday. Sunday I used it for the first time in months and months and months. It
Yeah.
was really, really
Yeah.
bad. But
I
good enough.
I went to Guadalajara, Mexico, and I only served for 6 months, so it wasn't engraved. But right when I left is when I was starting to get comfortable with it,
Yeah.
where I could have a conversation and have no issues. But it wasn't engraved in my, it wasn't engraved over
You
the
weren't
next
dreaming in
year and a
Spanish
half.
yet?
Yeah, I wasn't dreaming. Well, no, I was,
Yeah.
but it just my memory. So
Right.
I didn't use it long enough to really.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at this point, I cannot do a loan application in Spanish. Exactly. I can have I can get by in Mexico when I'm in Mexico, but I do not consider myself fluent in Spanish.
Yeah, me either. Not anymore,
Yeah.
at least. Definitely not anymore.
I can get by too.
But you use it quite a bit.
Yeah, I
with-
still could use it
yeah.
pretty often. We live in a place where there's a lot of Spanish speakers, so
Mhm.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's true.
So, got home from your mission, and then what?
Well, and then I didn't really have a plan. I really didn't have a plan. Well, I thought I had a plan.
Uh-huh.
And the plan was really to go to school to be a nurse or a nurse anesthetist or an anesthesiologist. I want to be a doctor. Back then I thought I wanted to be a health professional, but I figured the reason why, I kind of looking back now, the reason why I wanted to do that is so I could make money.
Yeah.
And then I got into it and, back up a little bit. I got married in 2018, 6 months after I got home. Me and Shelby got married. So that was great. Best thing ever. And then, I started going to school. And then one day I was gonna start going through the nursing program at EA, and realized that like that really wasn't the course for me, like at all.
Yeah.
They started like talking about like, oh, you're gonna have to like go do clinicals at the old folks home, and like, no, like if anybody's watching this and they're doing clinicals or like that's their passion or stuff, like don't take offense, not for me.
It's not for everybody.
Not for me, everybody. So I was like, okay, well, I won't be a nurse. Oh, by the way, whenever they're like, you have to do clinicals, I was like, I rose my hand. I was like, do I really have to do all that? And they're like, yeah, if you want to go through this course, like you have to do that.
All that, including
Yeah, including the clinicals.
the
And what that entails.
The washing, the washing of the bodies. And just like clean up and stuff. And I was like, do I really have to do that? And the teacher, bless her heart, she's the nicest lady. She was like, yeah, you have to do it. And I just like grabbed my stuff and like left. I didn't even
Just like that?
Yeah, I just left. And I was like, and then I called Shelby, and she had just married this guy that was supposed to be like this nurse anesthetist, like gonna go to school to be this guy. And I called her and was like, hey, like I'm not gonna be a nurse anesthetist anymore. And so that probably was pretty crazy. So I was like, I'm gonna be a doctor. And then they brought out like in one of the I think it was anatomy, they brought out a cadaver, and I was like, no. I mean, maybe doctors don't have to deal with that, but like I'm like, no, I'm not dealing with humans. So then I had to like figure out a plan. So
that's the scariest thing about a doctor. I mean, depending on what kind of doctor you are, but you're trying to prevent that. You know?
Yeah.
Or I was gonna say there's probably worse things than a cadaver that doctors see.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Oh, definitely, bro.
So
yeah, I did not want any part of like touching people, dealing with sick people.
Yeah.
Shout out to everybody that does. That's great. That's awesome. But it's not for me. It takes a bigger heart than me. And yeah, so.
Okay.
Yeah. That's kind of where I came from. I thought I was going to be a doctor.
Yeah.
But.
I kind of have a similar story. I thought I was going to be a dentist. I went to school to go to dentistry. Waited for like my last semester to start doing my shadowing hours.
Okay.
Started doing my shadowing hours, and like first tooth that was pulled, I was like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
That was painful to watch and painful to be a part of.
So you guys are smart because you changed direction before you finished schooling, right?
Well, I was in my last semester. He figured it out a lot quicker than me.
So did you still graduate? Like, what did you figured out early on? But also you figured out you didn't want to do it after you're done. With mine, I have a degree in Parks and Recreation. So you're smart. You
watch the show, huh?
Oh yeah, it's a great show. My whole thing was I wanted to be a game warden. I love the outdoors. I love hunting. I love, so either like game warden, Forest Service, something like that. But mainly game warden. I went and talked to an ASU advisor, and they're like, "Yeah, you need to get you need to get a degree in Parks and Recreation." And I was like, "Well," I went in to talk to them about like a wildlife biology degree.
Yeah.
And they're like, "No, don't do that. You want to do Parks and Recreation instead."
Oh, good.
The life of a loan officer.
Yeah, the life of a
Oh,
loan
you
officer.
keep going. I was just gonna throw this outside.
Oh. So, anyways, I went to talk to them about that, and they're like, "Well, you need to do Parks and Recreation instead because you." The thing with Parks and Rec is it will work to be a game warden, but it also open up other doors as far as like municipalities, being a Parks and Rec director, stuff like that. And I was like, okay. I got like halfway through, so not right at the beginning, but like halfway through, and I talked to an actual game warden, which I should have done that.
Yeah.
Stupid kid doesn't think to do that, and they're like, no, that degree's not gonna get you.
No way, bro.
Yeah, they're like, that's not gonna, it'll work for this other stuff, but it's not gonna be, you're not gonna be a game warden. And I was like, well, I'm not gonna start over. So I just figured, I just did it, and anyways, and I would have been happy doing Parks and Rec stuff too, but my life took me elsewhere, and I'm doing this now. But no, that's so was your wife cool with that? Like, was she
dude, that's where I like looked out, I think the most is in the wife department for sure. Like I've done a lot of dumb stuff, which I'm sure like maybe we'll talk about later with like my like dumb stuff as far as like my dreams, my aspirations, or just like off the whim just ideas that I have, and every single time she's been a supporter.
That's awesome.
And so it's been huge for like just development with like things that I want to do. She's been a huge supporter, and it's been pretty crazy that way. But yeah, she was cool with it, luckily, and never really like complained. She was always just like Team Weston, like whatever, I trust him. She always says like, I trust you to whatever you want to do, and like we'll figure it out.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
That's super cool. So how did that? What transpired to what you're doing right now? So what do you do now? Like, what is your main thing?
So right now I help business owners, mostly service business owners, generate new customers. So my job is to take somebody who doesn't know who you are but needs your service to becoming an actual client, patient, customer of yours, whatever that might be. So, and we do that through Facebook, Instagram, Google, and the use of what we call like funnels to get people there. And so that's really like the main thing that I do is I help people go from not knowing who you are to becoming your customer, and we use that through those.
It's like a lot of small businesses.
Yeah. So we help. Right now we hover somewhere between like 40 clients at a time, trying to grow.
That seems like a lot to me.
Yeah, no,
like
it's great. And a lot of them, a lot of them are kind of older clients that we've had that we're still managing, but a lot of them are in that space of like lead generation, generating customers for whatever it might be. But yeah.
And are your clients all here in the Gila Valley? Are they elsewhere?
Yeah, so it started out here. They mostly were here when I first started. Actually, you guys were like one of my first clients. You weren't here, but Man Mortgage way back in the day, bless their hearts for giving me the opportunity. But started back in 2018. All those are pretty much local clients. Till today, like I'd say half and half. Half are local, half are all over the U.S.
Okay. And how do you? So as far as all over the U.S., how do you market yourself? As far as your company on social media elsewhere, like are you targeting different areas? How are you finding the people that aren't here in the Gila Valley?
Yeah. So I mean, it's a system that is pretty simple, I guess, for me. But mostly what we do is we run Facebook and Instagram ads. With some sort of an offer, and then to like a landing page where they can watch a video about what we do, and then book a call to chat with us. Right now, mostly what we do that for is health professionals. So if you're, a chiropractor, any other health and wellness professional, nutritionist, med spa owner, whatever it might be, you'll see our ads on Facebook and Instagram. We'll show you how our system works through a video, and then you click a link to book a call with us to show you how that would like look for your business. And then we just hop on and we literally show you like, hey, this is what we would do. This is how much it would cost. Do you like the idea or not? And like, we're pretty straightforward.
Yeah. That's awesome. I remember, because when you came in, we were at our old office over there on Main Street. And you did some awesome videos for us. We were super happy with them. And then we have Courtney now. It's just an in-house, person that kind of a jack of all trades. She edits this podcast for us. She does all things marketing plus some. So, but I do remember, doing those videos and stuff with you. And it was a cool experience. I mean, if I'm remembering right, you had the lights, you had, so
it was terrible, man.
But we loved it. I mean, it worked. And obviously when you first start, you can't look back now because back then when you were doing it, I'm sure it was great. Yeah. You were just getting going though. But me as a loan officer, if I look back at the loans that, the service I was providing when I first started, I would say the same thing. I was terrible. I was still learning and everything, but no, I mean, you had a good enough product to allow you to continue to grow and be where you're at today, which is awesome.
Yeah, it was really good. It was a crazy ride, going through it all. It's just taken some time, some consistency, and tons of learning. I would say like the craziest thing, I think about everything, maybe you guys have seen this too. I feel like it took me, so we started in 2018. I feel like it took me, what would that be? I think 4 years to get to a point like where I just kind of sifted through all of like the crap of marketing, like the world of marketing. I was still trying to figure out like what service am I providing? Am I providing like local branding? Am I providing videos? Am I providing like Facebook ads, Google ads, YouTube ads, like Google business profile optimization? Like what am I providing to people and what's actually going to help businesses? And so like for the first 4 years, I felt like I was just like sifting through all that stuff. Cause like if you're a business owner, you think like I need to market or advertise my business. Like you have all these different ways to do it. And as a marketer, I'm like, what products could I provide to people? And then like it kind of took that like space of 4 years where I almost was like, I'll do anything to help you market your business. But now it's like, okay, we've really identified, here are like the main things. For us, it's like Facebook, Instagram, Google business profile. That really move the needle for local businesses. And that's where we really, and not only that, but like creating an offer, putting that offer on Facebook ads and on landing pages to acquire new customers, and then optimizing your Google business profile to help you rank in the top 3 in your local area. Like that's really like, we've pretty much leveled it to just that. Facebook, Instagram, Google, like that's it.
That's your niche.
That's it. Like anything else, like sorry, we don't do that. And so it's kind of been crazy to see, and you probably have seen it just over the last 2 years, I would say, maybe even just 2 years, how my business has just grown so much more because I'm like able to really define this is what we do. Like we don't do all this other stuff. Like this is what we do. And people recognize it, and you get really, really good at that one thing. And you can help more people, and you can do it quicker.
So this isn't something like, because you said you started your business in 2018. It's not something that you went to school for.
No.
You just figured it out on the fly.
Yeah.
How did tell me about that? Like, how did you figure out how to do what you're doing?
Yeah, so that's kind of crazy too. Like looking back, sorry, got those allergies, man.
Yeah, it's that time of year.
So back in 2018, I had a friend who was helping me launch products on Amazon. I don't know if you've like heard of people say like Amazon stores. Back then, what the thing was is you would actually find a product on Amazon that was like selling good.
Yeah.
You would go to China, find the same generic product. You'd like build a brand around that product. So for me, at first it was like wallets and water bottles, like these collapsible water bottles. And I don't know if I ever showed you guys, but you would pretty much like go source the product from China. You'd create the packaging, you'd create the branding, the Facebook page, the website. Like you would literally create everything to where you look like this is my brand. And then you would source like you'd pay a bunch of money. You'd get like 1,000 units from China, like these big boxes of water bottles or wallets would show up at your house. And then you would package them all and send them into Amazon and start selling your product. The problem is when you're a new seller on Amazon, I don't know how it works now, but like this is how it was back then, is in order for you to rank higher on Amazon, you needed to sell like more units. So what Amazon's algorithm was is basically like the more units you sold, like the higher you ranked, or like the more relevant you were.
Right.
So I was trying to get in the rank in the top 3. And the way that you would do this is through like giving away or selling products at a really discounted rate.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, how am I gonna do that? Facebook ads, Instagram ads. So I remember like one day I just started figuring out how to do Facebook and Instagram ads to sell these water bottles and wallets to get me to rank in the top 3 on Amazon and generate enough like sales to get me there. And then at the same time, I was actually working down here at the Ford dealership in town, and we were running some Facebook ads, but I had asked the owner if I could run my own to sell more cars, and he was like, "Yeah, go for it." And I had no idea what I was doing.
So you were selling cars?
I was selling cars,
okay.
yeah, and I was asking him like, "Hey, would you mind if I like ran ads for myself?" He's like, "Yeah." So I started spending money on ads and started getting some deals, and I was like, "This is great." Well, like a few months later, the owner's like, "Hey, what if you just ran the ads for the dealership and like managed it for us?" And I was like, "That'd be pretty sweet. Like, I'm down." And he's like, "I'll pay you like $500 a month." And back then I was like mind blown. $500 a month, dude. Like, you're gonna pay me $500? Deal. Like, I'm in. Well, we started running the ads. They're still a client of ours. Like, fast forward 6 years. But I mean, that kind of gave me the courage to like say, well, if I could do this here, why can't I go to other places? And that's when I knocked on your door. And that's when I knocked on like some other local businesses' door that still was like, and so it's been like, it's been an incredible run. That's kind of how I started, and that's where I'm at today. So Facebook and Instagram ads, from selling water bottles on Amazon to helping like tons of people across the United States with getting customers. So.
And to me, it sounds like, it's all been learned on the fly. Like I said, things that you probably wouldn't learn in school. You know what I mean?
Right.
Nothing against school, but here you are, a successful marketer in the industry of marketing.
Yeah.
Have you ever taken any?
No, I dropped out of a marketing class one time.
Well, it probably got to the point where like I don't really need the class. I'm going to do my own. I'm going to do my own business.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, it's the truth, man. Things are moving so fast. Like if you're watching this and you want to go to school for marketing or whatever it might be, and you're thinking, I want to be a marketer, I want to do digital marketing or whatever, I'm going to go to school and get a degree. You're already behind, because like things are moving so fast to the point where we have to keep up like every single day, every single week. New things are working, or other things like that used to work literally just like a few months ago don't work anymore.
Right.
And so like the marketplace is moving so quick, everything's changing so quickly. If you think you're going to go to school to get a marketing degree and get like some awesome marketing job,
they're pushing curriculum and lesson plans that they've had planned for, done for the last year might already be out of date.
By the time they create the lesson plan, I mean, things have already changed.
Right.
And maybe it's not they don't work, but
I feel like there's so many degrees that is the case. I mean, there's a lot of degrees that you have to go to school and get a degree to practice in that profession, but otherwise there's so many degrees that you really don't have to go to school for in order to be successful in that industry.
Yeah.
My view on higher education has definitely changed as I've gotten older and gotten into the real world and the business world.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not saying higher education is bad.
Yeah.
But I don't think
this wasn't meant to be.
But it's not. I don't think that it's as important as it was crammed into my face at going through school.
Yeah.
And I think that's a generational thing too. I think that it's always just been high school, associate's degree, bachelor's degree, maybe master's degree. I don't think. I mean, the career that I'm in, all you do is. It doesn't take a degree. It takes a license, and I think that's the case with a lot of really rewarding careers and professions. Is you just go, get the license, and it's more specific. It's more geared toward exactly what you're going to be doing.
Yeah.
You don't have all these. I mean, even in my degree as Parks and Recreation, one of my classes was leisure and quality of life. Like,
oh boy,
that didn't teach. I mean, it was.
Oh, bro, I got
an
an A in leisure, bro.
Yeah, no, that was a great class.
You go and sit in a hammock for an hour.
Right, and it's just, I think that if you're gonna be a lawyer, you need to go get your degree. If you're gonna be a doctor, you need a degree. But the reality is a lot of careers out there. Yeah. It's real world experience and learning it as you go.
Right.
I mean, because even if you didn't have your own. Even if you didn't want to be your own own your own business anymore, the experience that you've had doing this would allow you to go get a job at some other, and they're going to take that as way higher over. I just graduated with a marketing degree.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? And again, I'm not saying that that's not good to do, but it's something to consider. I really think it is. I think the problem is a lot of your, and this was me exactly. A lot of your high school kids, they don't know what they want to do yet. And in that case, I think that it is good to start going to school because one, it's keeping them busy. I don't think that, just because you don't know exactly what you want to do, you shouldn't wait around. I think that it's good to stay busy and try to figure it out as you go. And that way you're not just spinning your tires and, just living at home and, doing nothing. So I think it's good to work towards something. And in all honesty, if I didn't get my degree in Parks and Recreation Management, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at right now because of the path that it put me on and the people that I met and the where that led me. So
I think that it's crazy. Like in high school, you don't even know you probably didn't even know loan officer was a thing.
Yeah, that is one of my biggest, there's so many jobs that you don't even hear about when you're in high school. You don't even know
that are awesome jobs.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't even know.
And
I'm so glad you brought that
up. And I probably would have assumed to become a loan officer, you needed a degree for it, in high school. So it's important to have those conversations with people in the field and, try to figure it out. And the other thing with loan officers is there's only one person I know of that they plan and aspire to become a loan officer, and that's our branch manager. The owner of our branches in Man Mortgage, David Van Scoy. He can honestly say he's always wanted to do that. That's he says it all the time. This is his retirement. He was a college professor. He's retired now. He's focused full time on this. But I mean, I stumbled into it. Davis stumbled into it. It's something, and you stumbled into marketing. Yeah. And honestly, I fully believe that everything happens for a reason.
For sure.
And we all end up where we're supposed to be because that's how it's supposed to be. I mean, it's very interesting. It's fun to hear that story as far as how you started doing marketing, and it's awesome that you've been so successful with it.
No, you do not think that you could be successful out of like the main things of being a doctor, being like, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a teacher, I want to be a firefighter, I want to be like you have your main core things. You're like, all right, pick one, and then you kind of go down a path. It's just crazy. It is crazy, man. It is crazy.
It'd be interesting to go into a high school class and just like say list all the professions that you can think of and see how few
That would be
there
interesting.
are.
Yeah.
They'd all say those same
those
basic
same
ones.
three.
Those same
Yeah,
ones.
those same ones.
Lawyer, doctor, teacher.
Yeah. I'm gonna be a doctor. Yeah.
And whatever their parents are.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You mentioned, your industry is ever evolving.
Mm-hmm.
What have you seen a huge? Because AI is brand new.
Yeah.
It seems like every industry is being affected some way or another by
Yeah.
AI. Have you seen in marketing, like how
Oh,
are you using AI? How's it being used?
Yeah, so that is something that's interesting. There's a lot of people right now who are pushing, and I think it'll get to this point, but a lot of people are pushing like, hey, you don't need to hire, a marketer anymore. Like you can just use AI by yourself. Right now, I wouldn't necessarily agree with that. Is it going to get to that point? Probably. Like AI is awesome, and we use it every day to like build our campaigns, write campaigns, like get ideas for things. Like AI is probably the second browser I open, or Chat GPT is the second browser I open right now whenever I get into my office.
Yeah.
Just because like it's just like an idea bank. You can spit out like 1,000 ideas real quick, and then it just gets your mind turning.
Yeah.
But yeah, AI is going to be like a huge marketing tool, no doubt, an amazing marketing tool for generating new audiences, for generating creative that actually like optimizes creative for you. Writing amazing copy for your ads, even building like landing pages that are already like optimized for exactly what you're wanting to do. Like AI is going to be huge. Right now, I don't think it's like necessarily where it'd be. I mean, it's always evolving, but I think it's going to get to the point where it's going to be like it's going to be really, really
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we just got to adapt and figure out, how can we use this to
Exactly.
make it even better. I'm excited for it because I'm always that's a big problem I think like in the marketing space is marketing's always been around for a long time. Whether it was like way back in the day putting banners on horses and you would pay someone to drive or like ride around with your company's banner on the horse, to today using like Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. I think one of the biggest problems with a lot of advertisers and marketers is they get stuck in their, I call it like a medium or their placement. They get stuck in like, okay, well, I've always done newspaper, so I'm staying here. Or I've always done radio, so I'm staying here. Or even with me, I've always done Facebook and Instagram, so I'm staying here. When in 20 years, that probably won't be the case. Maybe even in 5 or 10 years, that might not be the case anymore. Maybe I'm already ditching Facebook and Instagram.
I can't even wrap my mind around where the technology is going to be in 20 years.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to start down that road, but I think with marketing, the what I've found with the marketing that we do is everyone has the same tools to market, but really what marketing is about is standing out. And getting people to to stand out from the competitors that are doing Facebook and Instagram and all that. They're all doing that, but where you come in is how to stand out.
Right. No, absolutely. And so like that's kind of like where I was getting at is no matter where you go, whether that's being old school, whether that's being whether you're sending mailers in the mail or on the radio or you're on Facebook or Instagram. The fundamentals of marketing, I think, like are the same. Mm-hmm. Are you talking to the right people, and are you giving them an offer that is applicable, like that is, what's the word? Are you talking to the right people, and are you giving them an offer that applies to them and that they would want?
Yeah.
And then are you making it easy for them to take the action you want them to take?
Yeah.
And so you can do that with any type of medium of marketing. Mm-hmm. But Facebook and Instagram just happen to be like the things right now. And so it's going to change in the future. And so you just got to adapt with that.
Right.
And
yeah. I think one thing I keep hearing about AI is, people are worried that your job's going to be replaced by AI, but I hear your job won't be replaced by AI, it'll be replaced by somebody who uses AI. Mm-hmm. So that's, to your point, you just have to adapt.
Right.
Our adapting right now is figuring out how to apply AI to your profession And
Totally.
I mean, that goes for you. That's going to go for us.
Yeah, because that's the thing with any type of technology. It's going to be there, but not everyone's going to know how to use it or
Right.
want to learn how to use
Right.
it. I haven't dabbled into AI at all, like with ChatGPT and all that. I haven't really, because I'm busy doing other things, and I'm just we have Courtney. Courtney's
we're
awesome.
lucky.
Yeah, Courtney's awesome. So, but no, I think that's cool. It's important to have that mindset and the understanding that if you're not adapting, then you will become, irrelevant. You've got to change with the times. It's the same thing with loans and adapting to loan programs and figuring out what's working and where the industry's going and trying to stay ahead of the curve.
Man, it sucks to change.
Yeah.
Like it does, right?
Painful. Yeah.
It sucks to change, but it's so important, and the people who don't change, they're going to get left behind. And the thing is like the next generation is going to be right there to like do whatever you're already doing right now.
Because they grew up with it.
Yeah, they're ready to change. And so it's so funny to me when people say like, oh, I'm not a techie. I don't know Facebook and Instagram, or I don't know TikTok or whatever. And so they're like, I don't know what, like, I'm just going to leave it alone. And you're really hurting your business by that. And so I don't want to be one of those people.
Right.
You know what I mean? But if you think that, you're totally going to get left behind.
Well, and think about, there's businesses out there that still don't even know how to use a card reader.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I mean? Like,
I just sent a check in the mail the other day.
Yeah, like think about how much, which is great, and people are still going to use you because there's individuals that like that, and they're. But if you want to grow, you've got to change.
Yeah.
You're not going to grow without change.
Yeah.
And so all these businesses that are successful, even though they're hindering themselves with not using a card reader, think about where they could be if they just simply figure out how to take a credit card or Venmo or things like that.
I think something that's really interesting, like off of that point, something that's really like important that I've had my mind on for the past few days is like above everything, above like to get business, to grow your business, to do business with other people. The most important thing is like, are you a person that can build relationships? Are you a good friend? Are you somebody that other people like? And so many times, people overlook that. They overlook on just like, I'm gonna put my head down and work. I'm gonna be just like this guy that just does the work and like I'm good at that. But there's so many technicians out there who are amazing at their jobs, but nobody knows about them because they're not a relationships person.
Absolutely.
And on the other side, there's people out there that are really good at business and are really good at like the numbers and like, making money and like all those types of things, but they're not a great friend. And so it's like over everything, it's relationships, it's being a friend. And even AI in the future, people want, with AI, you think like, okay, AI is going to take away all these jobs. Potentially, yeah, but still, people are going to transact with people they like.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And
so
you
it's
hear
like,
people always people complain about how much technology they have to deal with too. So that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Even when you call, if you're calling some company and you get stuck with a phone tree or an automated voice, that I hang up so fast. I'm like, I don't want to. Let me talk to a person. So that's a relationships and that. Personality and personability with people is extremely important to have a successful business.
Yeah.
So
be a friend.
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that certainly is the case in our industry. I mean, that's how we generate our business is by establishing relationships with our partners.
Huge, I bet.
Otherwise, our job is something that could be completely done online, but that's not the way people want to work.
And that's what Rocket Mortgage is, which obviously huge company, and they do a lot of deals. Not my style of lending. I don't, I like the personability of getting to know people and talking to people. There's lenders out there that's all they do is get a list of leads. We have to deal with these lenders too. For example, when we pull someone's credit, the credit bureaus sell that information, not your personal information. They sell basically your name and your phone number and say this person they just had their credit pulled, they're trying to buy a house, and then you'll start getting bombarded with just these lenders that are sitting around waiting to get that list, and they just call people. And I don't like working that way. I would much rather have a relationship with someone. I can't remember what point I was trying to make, but but yeah, I think that it's super important to have that and to have that to offer people.
Yeah, heck yeah.
I don't want to be a Rocket Mortgage. That's all I do is sit at the headset and just dial the phone. I mean, we do plenty of dialing, but it's different.
Yeah, be a friend, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
That's great. That's a big thing, for sure.
So what other,
I was going to say one thing I definitely wanted to talk about with Weston is his new venture, but
I learned, talking about the Hawaiian Snow.
Yeah.
So I learned from talking to Weston that he's actually, did you know, you've owned that for about a couple of years now, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, last year was our first year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, tell us about that if you're willing.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
So, my wife, Shelby, she created Shelby Cake,
Yeah.
and then she was like, kind of crazy how Hawaiian Snow happened. Actually, we had just put Shelby Cake out there in Central. It's going really good, and I was at a meeting at EAC. I grew up going to Hawaiian Snow. I loved Hawaiian Snow. I think everybody.
I grew up on Stadium Avenue.
Yeah. Oh, did you, bro? I think
we just moved a few months ago, but I've lived there for the last almost 20 years.
Oh, dang,
Yeah.
dude.
So.
Cool. Well, you're a native then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can walk to one.
You're a Hawaiian Snow
You
native.
take the golf cart now.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, dude, so I was driving by and I thought to myself, like, dude, how cool of a business would that be to have? Like, you're literally making shave
I'm gonna
ice.
stop you really quick.
Oh, go ahead.
I guarantee you there's hundreds of
Literally
people that have
everybody
that
felt
same
the
thought.
same thought.
I want that
Yeah.
business. So okay, now
Yeah.
continue because you're the one that
You're the one that capitalized on that thought.
And bro, I got so lucky because like I literally was just driving by and there's just like a few people there and I was like, man, that would be like such a sweet business to have. So I had like this feeling in my soul, dude. I don't know what it was. I usually think I think that all the time. I'm like a business guy. Like, oh, that'd be a cool business. Like that'd be a cool business. That'd be a cool business. But this one, I was like, dude, I gotta find out who owns that place. So I go back to my office after this meeting and I get on like the Graham County records to find out who owns the parcel.
Mm-hmm.
Like I figured out who owned the parcel and I didn't have a phone number for him. So luckily, Mormons have a really awesome, intricate network where you can totally find someone's phone number. So I go on the church directory and I find their name. I didn't even know if they were Mormon. I just assumed it. I don't know, because maybe it was Thatcher. I just assumed it. And I was like, okay, found him. Boom. I called this guy. And for anybody that's watching, the Sanders owned it. Amazing family. They worked out an amazing deal with us. Couldn't be more grateful to them for just the help that they gave us and being able to transfer it over. So Jonathan had no idea who I was. I called him. He was at work. And I was like, hey, you don't know who I am. My name is Weston. And I was like, maybe he would know Shelby Cake. My wife owns Shelby Cake.
Got a name drop.
Yeah.
Dude.
It's I was like, I just drove by and would you guys be willing to sell Hawaiian Snow? And he's like, no, we wouldn't be willing to sell it. And I was like, okay, well, if you ever change your mind, let me know. I hung up the phone. I was like, okay, well, that was kind of weird. I don't know why I would have thought that, but dang, my hopes were kind of crushed. The next morning at 7 a.m., I got a voicemail on my phone, and it was his wife, and she was like, hey, this is Jonathan's wife. We would love to sell Hawaiian Snow to you. And I was like, what? It was
crazy.
Mind blown, right? So we went through some of the process, and we ended up deciding they were like, okay, you know what? We want to sell it, but we want to just have it for one more year. And this was 2022. And I was like, okay, that's fine. A year goes by. And then the next February, so 2023 February, she calls again and she's like, hey, we're ready to sell it.
Did you follow up with them during that year?
No, I didn't talk to them at all.
Really?
They actually, so they were like, we don't want to sell, in 2022, they were like, we don't want to sell it. And I was like, well, I really would hope that you would consider selling it to me when you decide to.
Which, that's amazing that they remembered you, that that's awesome. Kudos to them for doing that.
Kudos.
Also, what a great seed planted that you did.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, I'm sure they got that call a lot.
Probably, yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I would have thought they got that call before.
But just the fact, that's just a testament of, make the call. You never know what's going to happen. Make the call and ask the question, and it worked out. So anyways, a year later, she calls you back.
Yeah, you don't get it if you don't ask.
Yeah.
And so that's what I really learned from the process. Anyway, she calls me again. We work out the deal. We figure it all out. They made it so easy for us. We got everything switched over. We bought it. So we've had it for the last couple of years. It was seriously the most amazing thing. Like I said, they were awesome to us, and yeah, we've got it now, and we had it for a year, and we just remodeled it.
Yeah,
so
I was gonna say you guys just did a bunch of renovations on
Yeah.
it. It looks awesome. I think people. I mean, I know most of the people listening to this, watching this, are probably from the Gila Valley, but for
And
anybody
they're
who's
jealous of you
not-
right now.
Well, I was gonna say for anybody who's not, you've got to understand Hawaiian Snow is like a staple of the Gila
Oh
Valley.
yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Well, and
and it's tiny.
the
It's
location
tiny.
is perfect. It would, you can tell it's something that has been around for a long time.
Yeah,
Just because of the type of property that it is.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I mean, how big is the parcel? It's
It's
the parcel itself is probably
half this
smaller
room.
than this room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
maybe.
And then the building is, the couch. It's just
Yeah.
tiny,
Yeah,
and
it's
right in
tiny.
the middle of a gas station, like a
Apartment
yeah,
complex.
like a quadplex or sixplex or something, and then obviously the college right there,
Yeah.
which makes it perfect.
and it's right on the highway.
And it's right, yeah.
Like
so,
the highway's right there.
yeah, it's such a cool business, such a perfect location, and I mean, it's got to be super cheap to run. As far, I mean,
Yeah.
some ice and some
Yeah.
flavoring.
No, that's actually something funny. We had to increase the prices. They hadn't been increasing forever.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, like we had to do that. And people always, if you're watching this podcast, you're probably like, "Dang, that guy! He freaking raised the prices on my snow."
They don't understand economics.
I just want everyone to understand. I'm not trying to be greedy. I mean, we have some amazing workers, and we pay them what they should deserve
Yeah.
to be paid. And so, whenever you have to pay someone, $15 an hour to make a snow cone, prices go up. And so that's just really like, yeah, the ice and this, and that's what people think. Ice and syrup is so cheap. Like, why is a snow cone $2.50? Well, it's like, yeah, I gotta pay somebody $15 an hour to
Yeah.
be there. And luckily, Hawaiian Snow is so busy that we need 2 people to run the place
Mhm.
at any given time. And so I just like that's kind of just like I wish it was different. Like I wish we could go back to the day that
So-
was 50 cents or $1 for
But
snow
that's the
cone.
thing. To your point, it has been that price forever.
Forever,
And I'm sure part of that is due to the previous owners. I think that there was a family-run business.
Right.
They had a different business model.
Right.
New owners comes new business model and new prices. And I still
Yeah.
think, I mean, it's still very affordable. It's not like I could spend a lot more money on different treats if I wanted to. Go to,
Like Shelby Cake is super expensive. Like I would say pretty expensive.
and it's a different product.
It's a
pretty
product.
Yeah,
product.
Yeah.
but for a simple snow cone, want a good treat, something to take the kids that
Yeah.
it's an experience for them. My kids always want to go. It's fun to sit there and wait for your snow cone to be made.
Right.
It's just very affordable. Like I don't think that you're anywhere close to being overpriced.
Right.
Everyone's
Highlight of my daughter's day, actually highlight of my day.
Yeah. So we love it.
Yeah.
It's been really, really fun. So the Hegakiyas started it in 1983. We just did a thing for them at Hawaiian Snow where we honored them
That's cool.
with Jerry and Sandy, and they were there. And a lot of people don't know that they actually started it just because it's
I
been
had
around.
no
for,
idea until that.
Yeah, it's been around.
It makes sense.
It's crazy,
Hawaiian
man.
Snow, yeah.
It's been around. It used to be called Hekakia's Hawaiian Snow,
Mm-hmm.
but it's been around since 1983. And so it's crazy to think that literally or 1982 or 83, 82 I think. I can't remember. I need to check. Anyways, 40 something over 40 years it's been here in the Gila Valley, and I try to think like I don't know if there's another business that's been around for 40 years in Thatcher.
that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Maybe a few, but not a lot of them.
And I don't know if it's, how long has EA been around? Does anyone know?
Oh, EA's been there for.
Oh,
No, I know, but I'm just curious. It just made me think about
I don't
that.
even know. That's a good
It
question.
used to be
It's been a
St.
super long
Joseph's
time.
Academy or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
But yeah, so we had a thing that we honored them, and I think the sold it to the Martins, and then the Martins sold it to the Sanders.
Which Martin?
Dennis?
Was it Dennis Martin?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they sold it to the Sanders, and Sanders sold it. Sanders had it for I think 14 years or something like that. Then we got it from them. So
Do you know who had it the longest? Probably
uh,
I don't know. Anyways,
probably the Sanders.
you should do a flavor dedicated to them or something.
That would be cool. Yeah, do like a flavor dedicated to every family.
To the
I was
Hegakiyas,
thinking
yeah.
about putting like a plaque, because like I would like to say that I would own it for like ever, but it kind of seems like eventually like it gets passed on like to somebody else in
Right.
the community and it stays alive. Like
Right.
maybe I
Hey,
don't
if
know.
you ever look to sell it.
Hey, maybe someday down the line that might
Consider
be a
this
good
that
idea.
seed plan.
That is cool because
Yeah.
that's just a story of right place, right time.
Yeah.
Just kind of what we were talking about earlier. If it was meant to be and kind of just happened for you. That's super cool.
Yeah, great.
Seems like you guys have grown the menu too, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot more.
Yeah, it used to just be shave ice, and they did some ice cream variations and stuff like that. Sadly, we had to get rid of the chocolate ice cream, but we added Dole Whip, like you get at Disneyland and stuff like that.
Okay.
So we had a Dole Whip there, and sometimes we have different flavors of Dole Whip, like pineapple, strawberry, raspberry. We're gonna have like mango one of these days. But yeah, just some fun stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Are your employees high school students or?
Yeah, usually high school or college students.
Okay.
About half and half. But
Okay.
yeah, we have some. Shout out to our employees. Awesome people that work for us. And just like make it such a fun environment. Shelby's been like a rock star finding the right people.
Mm-hmm.
So if you guys need to find any good employees, like Shelby's pretty much like the bloodhound of
Pretty good
sitting out there.
recruiter.
Yeah, they're great people. Yeah.
How many, I mean, and I want to talk about Shelby Cake, but I don't want to go super deep into it because I think it'd be fun to have your wife on so that she could kind of tell her perspective of things too, if that's something she'd be interested in doing. But so how long have you had Shelby Cake now?
So we started Shelby Cake. She started in 2020.
Okay.
And it was just out of the house.
Yeah.
And then
I remember she would like say like was it like once a week or something, she would have orders ready and then everyone would drive down the driveway and there's a huge line of cars.
Did you ever come?
Really? I lived with
crazy.
my wife. Yeah, she loved it. So
that's she would do these boxes with like 4 slices in it.
Yeah.
And we'd open up orders once a week and people would come, and there was probably every week we would have like 200 to 300 orders.
Yeah.
Or boxes reserved. So she would work all week, get those boxes done, and people would drive through and pick them up, and then that was it.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
That's awesome. And then
What a crazy time to start a business, though.
Dude,
right?
wild.
yeah. Well, but
2020?
during the middle of COVID, maybe it was again timing thing that might have been perfect because people weren't really wanting to be in a storefront or be around people.
Right.
So we'll go by and pick it up at the house and not have to.
Yeah. So Shelby was awesome, and then we kind of got lucky. With the place that we got lucky again. That seems to be the
Bit of a theme, yeah.
Yeah, but again, you made the call.
I don't think so.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
You gotta give yourself more credit. Yeah.
Yeah, you create your own luck.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like that term because people will look at someone like you, see how successful you are, and it must be nice, or look how lucky he is. You put the work in, man. Like it's not like it just fell into your lap.
Right.
You made those calls. You went through the struggle of learning how to do marketing, and they're looking at you now like, he's so lucky, but they don't see what happened. I'm sure
there
you
was
and
a lot
Shelby
of work.
had lots of restless nights, and that's the hard thing about being an entrepreneur is you don't have that paycheck coming every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's so
no, it was tough. Have you guys ever read the book Richest Man in Babylon? I would say it's one of my favorite books ever, but one of the things that it talks about in there is Lady Luck favors men of action. And so I think that's one of the biggest things is like, if I would consider myself definitely favored by Lady Luck, but you're right, like it does take action. And sometimes you take action and it doesn't make any sense, like what you're doing. And then eventually you're like, oh, like if I would have never done X, like I would have never got this outcome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I think that's kind of how it is.
Yeah.
If you're willing to take action and be bold, I think like opportunity comes your way just by happenstance.
Absolutely, I agree with that 100%.
Yeah. So she started that, and then 2021, a year later, she opened up the storefront. Yeah. It was wild. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, like you said, I want to get into that, but I also want to let her see if she wants to tell the story. I mean, that was Pinky's all growing up.
Yeah, that was Pinky's.
Yeah, so.
A bait and tackle shop.
I remember catching crawdads behind my house in the canal with Brigham Dixon, and we probably did this once, but in my mind, this is something that we did, right? It's probably just like one memory that I have. Yeah, you take crawdads and they'd buy them from you over Pinky's. Yeah,
oh,
you
I
could take
did
them over
not
there.
know that. Yeah.
And then they would sell them, obviously, to So
that's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Now there's cakes being sold.
Yeah.
And marketing being done out of that.
Yeah, it still smells like fish. No, I'm just
It
joking.
does. It might be a little fishy.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
So where's Shelby from?
Shelby's from Mesa.
She's from Mesa.
Yeah.
How did you guys meet?
We met. So we had some family friends that our families have always kind of been connected as family friends, and so I actually just made a post, but like about this one Easter in 2014. I'd kind of known her growing up. We went to a family Easter party, and I was like, dang, dude, that chick's hot. I need to take her out on a date. And so I did, and then it was kind of just like downhill from there. She would come down, I would go over there, she'd come here, we'd go on dates. And then, the rest is kind of history. It's crazy.
Was it hard to convince her that the Gila Valley was an awesome place to live?
At first, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like if you go to Shelby Cake and you read the story on the wall, like that's kind of her story. For the first 3 years of her living here when we were married, she didn't really know anybody. And she didn't really feel like she belonged in the community. You know what I mean? Like if you're in a new community, and you just go to work and you come home, it can be hard to connect with
especially community
that are already tight.
I'm guilty of this. I'm from a big family, and most of us live here, so we don't hang out with friends.
Right.
We don't, we do a little bit, but when we have get-together, it's with family. Everyone kind of has their own little bubbles, and a lot of those bubbles are intertwined because there's cousins and things like that. So it can be hard. It can be a hard community to infiltrate from someone moving from the outside, and I hear that perspective a lot.
And also, most of my best friends are friends I've had since high school.
Exactly. Yeah, and the friends that I do have still live here.
Right.
Yeah. So, but. Okay, sorry.
That's it. Yeah, but she did, and so Shelby Cake was kind of like a thing where she went from someone she just didn't know a lot of people to now she's got 1,000 friends.
Yeah,
and it went from oh, you're Weston's wife to now I'm Shelby's husband.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I would say she might be more well known than me by most of the community, even though I grew up here, which is kind of crazy. Yeah. So
well, and that's the difference too in your types of businesses that you have. Her name is on the building, right? Yours. I didn't even really understand fully what you did. I had no idea that you had clients outside of the town. So it's just
that's true.
Yeah. So
and I've done what's funny is I've done a really bad job of marketing myself. I help other people do marketing, but until recently, I've done a really poor job of telling people what I do.
Yeah.
And so, but
cool. Well, we're excited to help spread that word and
spread it around,
get it out. But cool. Is there anything else that you want to share about yourself, or
anything you want to plug?
Anything you want to plug? Anything you got coming up, or how can people get a hold of you? I guess if they want to talk to you about helping them market their business.
Yeah, just reach out to me, Weston at WBNKmedia.com, or hit me up on Instagram.
Okay.
And I'd love to chat, and it's free. I mean, I love talking to people and just brainstorming and seeing where they're at, where they want to go, and how I can help them get there, and if I can help them get there.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest things is marketing has such a negative atmosphere around it. Marketers are slimy, or salespeople. Salespeople, they're slimy, they're unethical, they're not honest. And so, from my perspective of who I am and what I do, I think integrity is a big part of that. Mm-hmm. And so I want to bring integrity and trust to marketing, where people can not only trust me as a marketer, but also trust that what we're putting out there represents their business well, and that their business looks good, and you know what I mean, and they're building the type of business they want to build. So that is something I want to just put in really quickly is marketing is such a, nobody likes a marketer, to be honest with you. It is kind of a thankless and a just a all around bad name profession. Mm-hmm. And so that is something that I kind of aim to switch and change, is be a marketer with integrity and treat people well and be honest and do that.
And that's what it all comes down to, is just treating people right, just doing what's best for people. And I think if you do that, it comes back to benefit everyone. If as a loan originator, if all I cared about was making as much money as I could on one specific person, some people don't realize that they might be getting taken advantage of by certain loan originators. But that originator is not going to be successful in the long run.
Absolutely.
So if you take care of people, they'll end up taking care of you. You have a happy client, they're going to tell their customers about it. I think that can be said about almost any industry.
Absolutely.
Is just take care of people, treat people right, and be honest with them, and you'll be all right.
Dude, that is so crazy. That is going back to what I said about being a friend and being having relationships. That thing of treat people right, do well by them, be a friend, go out of your way to help people. And I think that by just doing that, and instead of trying to squeeze every penny and dime out of people for either a deal or being a client of mine, goes so much further, and you're gonna make so much more money and be so much more successful
Yeah.
than if you like try and squeeze wring that rag out and squeeze every
Yeah.
penny out of every interaction. So, anyways, that's a good point.
That's another thing I love. You mentioned you wanted to be a doctor, but what you really realized is you want to make a lot of money, and that is something that I feel like a lot of people won't admit,
Yeah.
which I think is BS, because everyone wants to make money. You know what I mean? Nobody is doing what they're doing simply okay, I shouldn't say nobody, but the majority of the time, we want to make money.
Yeah, you want a good job.
Yeah, you want to have a good
Yeah.
job. You want it, but the thing but when you can make that money because you're treating people right, that's when you're in a really good
Yeah,
situation.
absolutely.
You know, that's when you're in a good situation. So that's awesome, man. Well, congrats on all the things that you have going on.
Thanks,
Seems
man.
like things are going really good for you, and we're excited to. I mean, we don't have a lot of followers yet, but we're
Heck
trying
yeah,
to build a
let's get
podcast.
over
We hope that having awesome people like you, talking to people like you will help us grow and help you grow. And we're excited to. I've been excited for this conversation. I'm excited to have tell people about you. and
Sweet.
get
Yeah,
people
your
listening.
story's awesome.
Thanks, man.
It's inspiring. Like, I think, again, calling everything luck is kind of not giving yourself credit. You've done a lot of work, and it certainly shows. And
Thanks, man.
I'm
That means
happy
a lot.
that we had you as a guest to hear that, because I didn't know any of that, and so now I'm like ready to go and like make a bunch of phone calls.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. That means a lot.
I'm excited to have your wife on too, so that we can get
Yeah.
her perspective of things
Yeah.
too. So we'll have to talk to her and have her come in sometime.
That'd be
So
awesome.
well, cool. Thanks again for coming on, man.
Yeah.
Thanks,
It was
guys.
fun.
Cool.
All right.
Cool. Like Gucci.
Being my friends.